Good morning, everyone. I am Faith Suggs, Duke Women's basketball player, and this is my father, former NFL player with Cincinnati Bengals and New York Jets, and this is Faith Family Focus. Good morning, Dad.
Good morning, Faith Suggs. How are you? In Brooklyn, New York?
Yeah, you said that last show. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about this show.
Yeah, what's new over there, though? What's going on in Chicago?
Just status quo. We're taking it slow. We're basically, everything is pretty much open. I'm able to
Yeah,
go to Starbucks and stay in a little
nice.
square, and everything's 6 feet apart. Yeah. So, but
Everyone's wearing their masks and everything.
yeah, they're pretty compliant, especially when they go into stores. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the social distancing part, some people kind of get that part, but
Right.
I have a pole that's 6 feet unstable. So keep them away from me.
I
So
said I was going to do that too when I was in New York, and I realized how close everybody is. Um, But today's an exciting day. Welcome everyone. If you're new to F3, send us a comment, shoot us a wave, send a like. We'd love to see you. We hope everyone has their Suggs mugs. Dad, hold up your Suggs mug.
whatever such about gotta get one to Haley and Jalen. So
Yeah. But yeah, and those are still ordered. Obviously, our number one customers are getting them, our viewers. We love you guys. We see you guys trickling in. Shoot us a comment. But Dad, what's new over there with Devin? Good morning. Good morning.
Devin is doing good. He's actually just taking an English class that's keeping him really, really busy. He's scheduled to go to Yale, I think the week of the 20th, that we're just trying to figure out logistically how they're going to bring the kids onto campus. So we're kind of waiting for that. Um, the whole football thing, whether or not we're going to have football or not, obviously the Ivy Leagues are not having football, but I I would pretty much guess that there's some other conferences or some other
Yeah.
programs that are probably choose postpone
To
fall
play. Yeah.
football because I don't.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. It's up in the air. We'll figure out. Me and you talked last night for a minute about the vaccine information and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how everything unravels, especially in the next 2 months for college sports, especially. We're patiently waiting in that sector over here. But those of you who are new, this is F3 Faith Family Focus. Our goal is to use our story to share and strengthen our viewers and those around us through our own faces of adversity and etc. We have a really exciting show today. We're going to dive into two exciting guests of Making of a Champion. Those of you who have been watching our show, you have seen Making of a Champion series. Today we're going to dive into professional life and the mindset behind that, which Dad, you know a little bit about. Our first guest is Haley Gurecki. She's an Illinois native, and I'm going to need to stand up because she got all these statistics I got to read off. She attended Frem High School in Palatine, Illinois. Just ask her, she'll remind you. She was Miss Basketball before she headed to Duke University as my roommate for many summers in our freshman year. She's the only Power 5 conference player nationally to average 18, 6, and 4, and 2. I said she's got a lot of statistics, so hang with me. The only player nationally with over 550 points, 195 rebounds, 130 assists, 60 steals, and 15 block shots. First Duke player to average 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in back-to-back seasons. The third Blue Devil to register 500 points, 200 rebounds, 100 assists, and 75 steals in a season. The second ACC player to lead her team to back-to-back seasons in scoring, rebounding, and assists. She's the seventh Blue Devil to total over 500 points again, 200 rebounds, 100 assists in her first 50 collegiate games. She's the sixth Blue Devil in school history to notch back-to-back 500-point seasons. She reached her 1,000 points in only 77 games, becoming the 10th quickest Blue Devil to do so. And she was drafted 31st overall in the 2020 draft and is now getting ready to start her professional season in Spain for a team neither of us can effectively pronounce because I took Spanish with her for 2 years and we both are not good at it. Our second guest is Jalen Brunson, currently plays for Dallas Mavericks. He is originally, though, if you ask him, is from Stevenson High School in Illinois, where he was Mr. Basketball, McDonald's All-American, FIBA Under-19 World Cup MVP. He then headed to play for Coach Wright at Villanova and went to rack up some more great highlights where he was two-time NCAA champion, National Collegiate Player of the Year, Concentra's first team All American, Babcozy Award, second team Academic All American, Big East Player of the Year, two-time team, all Big East Player of the Year, two-time first team All Big East Player, Big East All Freshman Team, and more. We're really excited for them. Dad, you're excited. You know they're really close with our family, so it's going to be a fun show. For those of you tuning in, share the show. Let people know we're going to take a quick break, and we're all going to be back to jump into Making of a Champion. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How is everyone? Haley, how are you doing? Where are you at?
I'm good. I'm in Palatine right now. So I've just been home for a long time.
Nice. Jalen, what are you up to?
I am in Dallas, just rehabbing and trying to get my shoulder right.
Yeah. Well, this is exciting. We're glad you guys are joining us. We're going to give you a little intro. We have done a Making of a Champion series because there's a lot of people who would love to know what it's like to get to the next level, play at the next level. So they love hearing our shows about Making of a Champion. So it's almost wonderful that we bring you two on because you guys are such great role models and leaders in your communities. So you guys are going to probably drop some wonderful gems for our kids. Dad, we're excited to have him. I'm also going to get your input a little bit, but let's just dive right into it a little bit. Haley, when did you realize basketball was the sport you wanted to play?
Honestly, I feel like I have to give credit to my brother so he's like 2 years older than me. And like every sport he played, I wanted to play. So I feel like literally it was like age like 3, 4. Like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like play basketball. Like it was definitely a very young age. I definitely played a lot of sports, but I knew like basketball was always gonna be like for a while continuing.
So you're okay. That's pretty neat. When did you narrow down? Like what year?
So I always thought I was gonna play soccer. Like that's always been my favorite sport. So I want to play that in college. And then, I mean, as you guys know, growing up in Chicago area, it's like snow on the ground while you're playing soccer. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I think it was like around like freshman or sophomore year of high school. I was like, okay, I think I'm just gonna play basketball. And then from there, I think that's when I just started playing basketball. Like that, I narrowed it down to like that one sport.
Yeah, and Jalen, what about you?
So it was weird how it transitioned.
We're gonna, yeah, Jalen, you dive into it, but Haley, think about what your first experience story was, something that you can remember. Because I know we all had that moment, but Jalen, go ahead.
I'll probably say definitely my father. My dad played in the NBA for about 9 years, and so I got to experience a lot of cool things at such a young age. So basketball has always been in my blood since I can ever remember. It just I played other sports like Haley said as well, but I think around like 6th grade is when my family also moved a lot because my dad was also coaching, getting jobs at other places. So once I think in 6th grade, I think I stopped everything else because didn't want to find a new team for everything. So and basketball was just so easy to pick up and play year round. So that's when I really started.
Yeah, and Haley, do you have that first experience for us?
I really don't have a good memory. I feel like if you ask my parents, they obviously would have a better story to tell, but I don't have anything. I really don't.
I know. I live with you for you. I know you don't. Jalen, can you give us a fun memory or something that Jalen Brunson remembers his first time with the ball?
My first time with a ball, I don't probably ever can remember, but my first like basketball story. My dad, I think this is the time my dad was playing for the Knicks, and so my dad always dressed up to go to his games, and so I think one day like my mom, I don't remember this, but my mom always tells me this story how like I put on like my little suit or whatever, I got my little duffel bag, and like was walking out the door with my dad. My dad's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm coming with you. We have a game today." And then my mom was like, "Oh well, that's true, but you can't go right now." And so I never remember that, but they always tell that story, so I guess it happened.
Funny.
That's funny.
Dad, I don't think we remember our first. For us, I just know that we played every sport in the book. So it's funny hearing their stories because those of us who tuned in, they remember listening to us kind of touch on how we got into the game, Devin and I. But you definitely pushed us towards every sport possible, regardless if it had taken 2 weeks or 3.
Well,
One
depending
thing,
on when the seasons change, we just, it was football, it was basketball for you, it was ballet. So it's kind of interesting to hear their stories because one, I wanted to say how proud I am of both of you, Haley, Jalen. And then, of course, I've watched all of you in high school. And as a parent watching, I had the opportunity to watch all 3 of you just progress, go through college, and now you just have the experience of fulfilling your dreams. About faith, obviously, with the administrative coaching route, but playing professional is obviously something that I can relate to. And I'm just going to be so curious to find how you're going to navigate it. There's so many things that are in store for you, and I'm just so excited to watch you really.
Oh, well, thank you.
Appreciate that.
but guys, let's start with Haley. Then Jalen can kind of tip it off. Is when did you start to see that you could play at the next level? When did the dream start to become more serious and realistic for you?
I think about like 7th or 8th grade. Because like I feel like recruiting's definitely changed throughout the years, but I think that's when I was starting to get recruited. So I was like, maybe I'm not, like maybe I'm pretty good. So like I think I definitely always took it seriously, but I think once that started happening, I definitely knew like I could and I wanted to play at the next level. Probably around that age, that time.
Okay. Jalen, what about you?
Probably around the same, but I kind of believed I could play at like D1 or the next level. But I think around like 10th grade was when it like really like hit me. Like I always like worked on my game. I always just like a confident person like in whatever I did. But I think once I was able to lead that my Stevenson team downstate as a sophomore, and and then after that season, I just looked back at it. I was like, wow, like this could be something like I could really be successful at. And so I kind of once I tasted that first round of success, I was like, well, I don't want to stop here, so I just kept working harder. So that's probably realistically then 10th grade.
Yeah. And did you feel kind of a change in your work ethic during that time change or focus or in what you had to sacrifice during that time period kind of alter when you made that decision?
Yeah, there's a lot I had to sacrifice. My parents always said like you have 3 choices, like you have your social life, you have basketball, you have school, and you can only pick 2. And so it was obviously basketball, it was school and basketball, and obviously I had time for friends after, but I made sure I got my work done before anything, basketball and school wise. And honestly, once that I reached that moment of like kind of realizing what I could do, it kind of gave me a sense of confidence that I could do a lot more, and then at the same time I can work a lot harder. And so it kind of raised both levels for me.
Yeah. And Haley, did you feel that kind of shift as well? And those sacrifices had to be made?
Yeah, I was laughing because like my parents basically said the same thing. It was like it stinks like not being able to like be with your friends but like you knew like all the work that you're putting in right now, it's like obviously worth something. But at the moment when you're like in high school, like middle school, grade school, whatever, you're like I remember like I miss like dances, I miss like going on like vacations with families and like stuff like that. So obviously I was like it was disappointing at the moment, but like I knew obviously my parents like had my best interest and like I knew it was always like going to be worth. So yeah, definitely had to make some sacrifices, but it was worth it.
Haley, can you kind of tell our viewers a little bit to like kids who are watching, parents who are watching, who have kids who play the next level? Can you kind of walk us through what a regular AAU season is when you be sophomore and junior year?
Yeah. So, well, like I said before, I feel like recruiting has definitely changed because I feel like people are committing like earlier and earlier, which I think is crazy. Um, but I mean, it's intense. Like I think you're always on the road. You're traveling to all these tournaments every weekend. Like no break whatsoever. And like, it's crazy to think about that now because it's like, I always like focus on my body right now and just like making sure that's right. And I'm like, how did I play like 3 games back to back in like 1 game or 1 day? It's just like crazy to me to think about. But yeah, it's like always you're always traveling, you're always playing. It's more playing games than like practice, which is kind of fun, especially when you're like you're little. But I mean, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, but you have to love it. So like I feel like everyone here loved the sport. So obviously, it was definitely fun. I mean, you get so close with like the people on your team, and like obviously your coaches, and then the parents that always come. So it's definitely fun and worth it if you really love the sport.
Yeah, and Dad, me and you, as we think back on it, I just all I can remember is like laundry and like the hotels, like like having to go buy more stuff, like because you would go from July 1st to July 5th, actually July
Yeah,
5th, like end of July, and then you have a
yeah.
little break, you go dive back into it, which is interesting because right now the recruiting dead period has been extended to August 31st. So college coaches can't come out and physically see kids, have home visits or on-campus visits, which is extremely different. I mean, Jalen, can you imagine like how this could impact kids' career? Like, what is your take on it?
Yeah, this is. I don't even. I'm kind of glad like I'm not going through that at that age. Like
Mhm.
that is crazy. I couldn't even imagine being able to not finish the season, which is it was just mind boggling. It's kind of a scary time, but at the same time, like there's no better time to kind of focus on yourself.
Right.
There's
Yeah,
like, what are you what are you gonna do to make yourself better? How are you gonna challenge yourself to kind of do something to make you better? Like you may
right,
not have access to a gym or like a weight room or whatever, but you definitely have access to your mind to think about something you can do to get better. So I mean, obviously like now I have like resources, I have the facilities to go to during this time, but like even when we couldn't go, like I was doing like in-home workouts. I was doing things where like it, it it wasn't ordinary, but like for me, it felt like I was doing something to make myself better. So I
right.
think it's been a good time for self-reflection.
Yeah. No, and that's perfect because we touch on that all the time, and at least that's what I'm telling my athletes right now with my program because we are in indefinite. We have no idea when they're coming back. I just think it's so interesting because college sports right now, everyone is on their own different time zone. It depends on the state, it depends on the conference, depends on the level.
Right.
Um, Haley, can you imagine and kind of talk to us a little bit about because you finished your final season with the pandemic?
Mhm.
Can you kind of talk to us a little bit because we talk about adversity and pressures a lot in our show? Can you talk a little bit about how that kind of unfolded? Maybe tell that story and then how it kind of impacted you, Kyra, Emily, Nay.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, it definitely hit me a little hard, like extra hard, just because like that would have been my first tournament I would have been able to play in because I've always been injured. So I remember. So I mean, we were coming back from spring break. It was like a Thursday, and the guys, men's team, just left for their ACC tournament. Um, and it was weird because I mean, you know how we like we'll go to weights and then we usually like sit and then we'll go to the film room.
Yeah.
We did weights and like I was like, as she was talking about like the men's team, they were like, oh, I think they're coming back. So like I had my phone, so I was like, are you guys like playing whatever? So then they're like, oh no, our tournament was canceled. So I was like, what is going on? So we get in the film room and it's like all the staff, and I was like, this obviously isn't good. And then so Coach P starts talking, and she was like giving the pep talk because like at the moment we didn't know for sure if it was going to be canceled. We like really didn't know. So she was like, you know, this is perfect. Like adversity is going to hit us, but like we always know how to handle it type thing. And then Kate starts talking, and then it's like 30 minutes after I get a phone call from Coach P, and she was like, they canceled the tournament. And like yeah, a lot of emotions were going through my head. I mean, I just felt bad for the seniors. I think like we were on like such a like a upbringing in our season, and at that time, like everyone was like super, super excited to play in the tournament and like ready. Like we were definitely prepared. And then we get that news. So it's just kind of unfortunate. But for me at least I knew it wasn't like the end of like basketball for me. So I knew like other exciting things were gonna come up. So I think that's what's helped me like after I found out the news. But at the moment, yeah, there was definitely some fears. And like you're not gonna ever play with that group of girls again. So it's definitely hit home a little hard. I mean, other things came in the future that were exciting, so it was okay then.
Yeah. So, Jalen, you touched on something that was important. I think all three of you had an opportunity to commit to college, probably your sophomore year. Um,
Sure.
football is a little different. These kids that going through their junior year, normally basketball, I think all of you, three of you committed for your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
You imagine some of the football players that are going into their senior year have not committed, and I think we got to touch on it. What can you share with those kids on how to continue to stay focused, how to stay positive, and how just to mentally continue to prepare themselves for when that opportunity comes?
That's easier said than done, but I've always had the gift of being laser focused. Like I've always had like when I and don't get me wrong, it's hard to stay laser focused. It's hard, but I've always been able to kind of block out a lot of noise and
Awesome.
being able to just focus on the task at hand. And also, I think a credit of that goes to my parents. So in high school, at that age, like my parents always made me find ways to kind of keep the edge. And so I remember like starting like sophomore year and all of the even sometimes now, like my parents will send me something. Well, let's talk about high school. In high school, like people would say things um, like in the papers or whatever, saying if we're gonna shut Brunson down or whatever. And my parents used to like they would find that article and then they would like print out that part. And so on that game day, they would put it on. When I wake up in the morning, they'll put it on my bathroom mirror so I see it. And they put it. My mom would make my lunch, so she would put it in my lunch bag, like a little thing. And then she also put something on the fridge and something on the door before you leave to go to school. And so that was every day. So I kind of credit my parents to kind of keeping me focused. It's obviously it's even now like there's some days I'm just like I just want life to get back to normal. And then my mom is like my biggest motivator now because every morning she posts something like 6 a.m. of her working out. And I'm just like, Jesus, like another day. She's on day 33 in a row. So
Wow.
like my parents do a great job. So with that being said, like it's it comes from within, but at the same time, like the people who surround you help you reach your goals. And so
Right.
honestly, like the parent part about it, like them always keeping you focused and making sure that you're doing what's best for you and kind of staying on that track to make sure that trying to be great or trying to be successful was huge. So I got to thank my parents for that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Dad. Yeah, Dad, can you touch on a little bit, because I know you love to talk about, since Jalen mentioned like how important your circle is to kind of your focus and your development and your work ethic. Can you touch a little bit on that as well? Because I know that you love talking about how important the people you surround yourself with and who supports you has on your development.
Well, I think first of all, Jalen touched on it. As a parent, also a coach, I had to figure out a way to get in the right lane. And after you lost your mom, I was your coach. I had to figure out how to get in the right lanes and continue to support you and motivate you, inspire you. Some of the stories you just shared with me, Jalen, I kind of can relate to that. And I know Haley's parents that I've seen them. I mean, you all can tell the stories about our parents because those are going to be the kind of parents that you're going to be, But you just kind of, it's both of you. Jalen, you're in it, playing professional basketball. Haley, you'll continue to do that. But it's key to find the right allies. You both probably get to the point that you're at. Know how to do that with social media, when everybody's watching you, it is so important to surround yourself with the right people. And I think one of the reasons that all three of you got to where you were was because you were able to make those right decisions within the locker room. You knew who to hang out with. You knew who not to hang out with. You knew the person that wanted to drain you from your game because they were jealous, right? And that translates off the court too. So those are things you got to continue on. As you continue this journey, I played in New York from Indiana. Man, did I have a transition? I mean, it was like all of a sudden I'm playing with Joe Namath. So I had to really kind of learn how to, stay in my lane because if the social media was around back in those days, I would probably be in a lot of trouble. But, it's just, as you all know, you hear this story. I'm not going to reiterate, but you hear the story. I know, I don't know if they do it in the NBA, Jalen, but in the NFL, they all sit us down, they talk, they sit you, and they coach you on all the different dynamics that you're going to be faced with, all the different things that you're going to, what to avoid, right? So, that's continue to be important. And then the next thing is, again, to start thinking about what your next journey is. And simultaneously, and while you're enjoying what you're doing right now, your career can come to an end just like that. So you leverage what you're doing right now. Talk about surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with the people that are going to help you down the road. And so you continue to do that. So that would be some of the things I would want to give to you based off of my experience.
And that's good. I mean, luckily, I've listened to your wisdom for my entire life, so it's nice to hear you kind of say it as well. But you touched on you moved from Indiana. To those of you who don't know, he's from Elkhart, Indiana, which is like nothing in Indiana. And he went and ended up in New York City playing for the New York Jets, and all of a sudden playing against Walter Payton and on Monday Night Football. So, Dad, I love that you talked about that as well. But Jalen, you now are in Dallas for your first year. Can you touch on a little bit about now all of a sudden you're kind of alone? You're now like more independent. You don't have your college buddies around you. Can you touch a little bit on like the mental side of that a little bit?
It's hard. It is a totally different beast. Like it's it's when you kind of like the first moment when you realize like it's totally different, you're alone, it's gonna hit you. Like that first moment, like every day you're with like your best friends, you're with your teammates, like the people you work the hardest with, to go through the toughest moments with, like it's every day you're with them. Like you go to class with them, like you guys are in the same dorm, whatever, down the hall. For me now, we're like all my teammates that we were playing with, we're all spread across the country. So we're all in different time zones. We all have different schedules. We FaceTime somebody, like, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back a little later. When he calls you back, you can't talk. Like, it's kind of tough. From a mental standpoint, like, you kind of have to find something to, like, fill that time in. Because now, like, you don't have class. You get to do whatever you want. Like what are you going to do with your, like, the rest of your time that day? You're only going to work out or practice for 2 to 4 hours, and then you got to fill the other 12 hours you're up doing whatever. I think the coolest thing about kind of like being on your own is that like you get to figure out what you want to do. For me, I kind of fell into golf. And then like I've been playing a lot of golf, and it's kind of helped me mentally. Like golf is the most frustrating thing you can ever do. Frustrating thing. And like if you can stay level-headed, like playing golf, like you're gonna get frustrated sometimes, but for the most part, if you can stay like level-headed, like it helped me on the court. Like it honestly helped me mentally on the court. And so it's a culture shock for sure. Like Haley, you're gonna notice that it's definitely gonna be a culture shock. Like you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do with the other 14 hours of your day.
Yeah. And Haley, you're in Spain. And you and I both know that your Spanish is limited, as well as mine.
Hey, no, I told in the beginning when you were introducing the name, I told you I know how to pronounce it now.
Pronounce it for us, please, Goreki.
Okay, so if I must explain, the Z's are like, so it's Zaragoza. It sounds like you have a list, but that's how you say it. You're welcome.
Thank you. But what are some of your reservations? Have you spoke to any teammates that we've had that have been overseas for advice? Like, because I know that Haley, you are our social butterfly. You love to like meet new people and go out and be with your friends. So what's kind of your mindset going into this process?
Well, I feel like I got a like somewhat of a taste of it last year because like being a fifth year and just like a bunch of my really good friends are gone. I had so much time on my hands, like what Jalen was talking about, where it's like, what do I do now? Because like obviously like last year, like the class schedules were just like a lot less like time and whatever. So I was just like, I can't just sit inside all day. I just like hate being inside. So like I found myself honestly like going back to the gym and just like doing something there. Like I would get extra shots up like a lot more often than I would have did in the past. I would like go to the gardens a lot and just kind of like sit there. I don't know, just like random stuff that like because if I stayed inside, like I'm not one to watch like TV or TV shows like that. I just don't really like it. So like I would go crazy if I stayed in the apartment. So like as much as I could be outside, I would do that. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a little different in Spain though, because I'm not gonna be used to like the area, and I'll be like, I don't want to get lost if I like go too far. I'm like, okay, like gonna like have to know my tracks of like where I turn. But I think I've heard a lot of good things. I think I'll be able to like travel because like it's like in the middle of Barcelona, Madrid. So I think I'll take like a train or something and figure out just like cool places to go to. And then obviously, like you said, I mean, Sophia and Aaron are in Italy, so maybe like a long weekend, visit them. May will be somewhere, so I'll go visit her. But something I'm sure I'll figure something out to do because, like you said, I can't just sit.
You have friends 4 hours away too, don't you? There.
Yeah, I do. We'll see how that goes.
Coffee with a former teammate. Inside joke, everybody inside joke. But touch on like being able to explore. Jalen, can you touch on a little bit about how much your outside life a little bit can impact positively or negative your mental towards the game, especially when you get to the professional level?
Yeah, the outside life, like, it's a huge part. It's not one of the biggest.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we touched on earlier. Is like surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you be successful. I've always found a way of, you know, kicking people to the curb who I don't really need, and then keeping the people I need closest by me. And I think it's one thing that helps me mentally is obviously like they know, like my friends know, like the people I know closest know when like it's time for me to focus and time for me to like not talk. Like the people who like I don't really talk to as much, like they'll text me for games and things like that. Like say I good like and which is fine and all. Like they mean all well and all, but like the people I know closest to me, like know when it's a certain time between games and things like that, like, I am locked in. Like leave, like stay over there, like leave me. And surrounding yourself with honestly like that's honestly the only thing I can think of. Like mental from a mental standpoint of being successful, like you have to know who you're around. And you gotta know like you may surround yourself with good people and then there's also people that are surrounding you that you have no control of them being around or not. So you also gotta know like who is on your side and who is just there to kind of take notes and wait for you to slip up. Like you have to like, just understand that and there's nothing wrong with those type of people, but you just gotta know you gotta keep your distance and you gotta keep a wall. Like you have to have some type of wall to make sure that, like you can let them in, but you can't let them all the way in the door. Like they're at the front door, you can open the door for them. You just can't let them in.
Yeah. No,
I think it's
go ahead.
well. I want to piggyback on that because I think it's crazy how like the start of even like say college. I'm like I guess you could start at high school too, but like think about all the friends you've had and it's like which of those friends are actually your friends. You know what I'm saying? Like Mr.
Yeah.
Suggs, like you being on so many teams and like from all the years of schooling, like of those friends, like how many of those friends do you actually talk to right now? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you know who your really like good friends are, which is like kind of scary to think about, but it's like what Janen's saying, like you really have to think about that stuff. It's crazy.
Dad, what do you think about that? Now
Well,
that you're in your wise age.
well, what resonates for me right now is watching the three of you. Your closeness, your camaraderie, and Faith, as you well know, I mean, I have these guys that I played with 40 years ago that I'm still close with, and they were my friends. And, through thick and thin. There was a whole 75% of those other people, you know, fell off because they didn't have your best interest, right? And so, the really great thing about sports and really great thing about what I'm watching right now is that in 20 years, we still have this show, the three of you to be able to continue to have stories. I see the kind of closeness that you have because I experienced the same thing. I had three defensive backs on my show that I played with in the '70s. It was like we picked up right where we left off. We didn't miss a beat. Of course, with Jalen, we didn't get into trouble back then because we didn't have the money that you have right now. So it's very different, right? But it's the same dynamics, though. When you go out, okay, you gotta really understand and have a level of visibility around you. But what's really nice about is you continue to navigate. You play with the Dallas Mavericks, and with the grace of God, you'll continue on playing. Might play with another team. When you get done, you will have a group of guys that are your ride or die guys, no matter what, right? Daily faith, I see the same thing, and that's what's really wonderful um, about what we do, sports, and then you continue to navigate whether or not you get the coach faith, you'll be able to look back. But I can see the three of you, 30, 40 years now on the same show, um, telling the same story. They may be lies, but you be telling the same story.
Yeah, and that's funny. I mean, I think that's wonderful because I think that one thing that sports brings to somebody's life is, and I said this the other day, is the ability to work in a setting with other people and understand others' roles and others' places in your life. And I think that one of the best qualities and skills you get out of years of playing sports, especially collegiately, is you learn that everybody is different. They come from different places in life, which is different from when we were playing AAU or high school because we're all from the same community. We're all from the same area. So we all have similar morals, similar guidelines, similar parents, right? So when we get to college, everybody's from all over the country. They come from different beliefs, different political beliefs, different religious beliefs, right? And you have to find a way to take the parts that you like out of that person so you can bond with them, right? And form these relationships for years and years and years. Haley and I were easy because we were roommates from the very beginning, but we were also like had very different personalities, right? Haley is more like sweet, I'm more sour, right? And we find a way to kind of like make it work. I think that's one of the best things that sports provides for you is these long time friendships that do click in the right way and can last a very long time. But we touched on a little bit about how outside stuff impacts your sport. But Haley, you're a special case, and I think that Jalen is now trying to get a little bit about this too. Is Haley, can you touch a little bit about adversity of injuries and your story a little bit and how they've impacted your mindset through the last years?
Yeah, I mean, it was rough. I mean, starting off freshman year of college, I mean, getting my hip done, breaking my femur. I mean, like that was the start of it. So I knew it was going to be a long journey from that, and then basically back to back my shoulder and then my other hip. It was hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, like it was had rehab and all back together, whatever. Yeah, there were good and bad days. I think I think again going back to who you surround yourself with. I think Duke. I mean medical staff and all of that. I think the coaches, my teammates, my family like always were there for me, which made it like that much easier and that much better going through it. Um, but at the same time, it's like I look back and I don't think I would want it any other way because of what all the experience I've gone through because of it, which is crazy to say because obviously I'd rather be playing, but it's like you learn so much more even about yourself, about I mean basketball itself, like getting the perspective of not a player but more of a coach. I think I really took that more like probably like my junior year or whenever I was hurt my last year. Just like as I got older, like I took the injury as not like a bad thing, as more of like what can I do out of this injury to like help my game excel like at the next level. So yeah, it was definitely tough. I mean, during like the rehab process, like for my hips, I always tell the story because it's like when you're rehabbing a hip, it's like there's only a point in the rehab process where you have to once you get your hip to bend at a certain angle, like you can't move on to the next thing. Like you have to wait so many weeks for it to heal.
Right.
So it's like as much as you want to keep on doing something to like help it, like you just can't. It's like that step in the rehab process would kill me because it's like oh, I always want to work. Like I always want to do something. So like my mental game, like my head was like going crazy at like certain points, and then like when seasons roll around, it's like oh my like I want to play, like I don't want to sit on the bench, like it definitely has its up and downs, but like I said, like being having like my family always there for me and my friends and coaches and teammates, like it made it easier.
Right. And Jalen, how have you stayed positive through it all?
Um, it's been I haven't had a journey like that. Haley's journey is just as I actually never like heard her say that from like her perspective, like just listening to that. But for me, it's just this is my first like knock on wood, hopefully my last injury. Like I tore my labrum in like the weirdest way possible. I thank the Lord it wasn't my shooting arm. So it was my right arm, and then I kind of was finding a way to. For me, I would never want to sit out, so I was trying to find a way to come back and play, which I could on the torn labrum. Finish the season, and I got surgery after the season. So I was working on it, and then like it was getting better. Like, I was shooting, I was moving, but like it just wasn't like I didn't feel like secure at first. And so honestly, the day after the season got suspended, I talked to the team doctor, and then we got it done like the next day. Got the surgery done the next day, and so going through surgery and then realizing that I couldn't move my arm at all, and any little thing I did was painful. Like I was like mentally, I was like, "There's no way like I could come back the same person." There was just absolutely no way. And then obviously, the more like I trained it, the more I got better at it, and the more I was able to move. Like I kind of started getting my confidence back and everything. And so, but once I was able to get back on the court again and shoot and like move and do things, like I feel obviously a lot better mentally. But going through the first couple of weeks of not being able to do anything is like was like the hardest thing. That was the most time off playing basketball I've ever done, and like I would never do that again to my body, to my mind, never. It was very very tough, but it kind of shows you how tough you are mentally. Like how are you going to get through a lot of adversity? How are you going to get through things that you can't control? And so that was definitely a big stepping stone for me.
Yeah. And Dad, we touched on the last show. You've had many injuries, basketball related and football related. Can you kind of touch on a little gems for these two on ways to stay positive, but also ways about how your experience influenced, your process?
Well, every champion has adversity. You know, every great athlete has to have a story about not just adversity, but injuries, like Michael Jordan. And obviously, I've had 5 knee surgeries, I had 2 hip replacements, I've had shattered femur. You know, I've had it all. It's crazy because none of that was football related. But I had back-to-back knee surgeries when I was a freshman and sophomore year, and but it was that will, that want to. that fire, and then for daily living in the reality for the grace of God, the people that are around you. Bailey, my heart was broken because I watched you on the sideline for 3 years. Never negative, always positive, always inspiring your teammates. Just watched you play last year. Just about cheers behind you because you're killing it. Just killing it, you know? Your best years in front of you. I mean, this is God put these things in your life for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
You know, you look back on it, but you did not give up. You know how many kids can just say, I'm done. How many
Mhm.
people say, I'm done, right? I mean, these things, these bumps in the road continue to be there, but I just watched you. I mean, I watched you so closely because you guys were so close. But that one time that little Saturday court last year, man, that's Haley. I always knew you could do it, but that's the player that I've seen. I love the words that you shared with Jalen. Is that you're not going to wood, but the reality is if you play the way that we've been playing, guard the way that we play, the injuries are a part of it. Fortunately, you guys are playing at a time where rehabilitation is so good, so sophisticated.
Mhm.
Back when I played, I dislocated my kneecap and they put 50 stitches in my knee, right? They
Mhm.
open you up and go, what, right? See, now you guys can come right back. So I love your spirit, just continue on. Because if you play at the level and you play it as hard as I've seen you play, it's a part of the game. But you have that want to bounce back. So just continue with that mindset.
Yeah, and that's special. It's special. I think that one thing that I always preach, and I say this all the time because of the many adversities that have happened in our family's life, is the ability to form your adversity and flip it into a positive in some sort of way. And Haley, you touched on that really well, and Jalen, you as well. But the ability to kind of see and never kind of regret the process that you have, right? The path you have on in
Right?
life, because at the end of the day, and this, I love to do this, is right. As you look back, as if this didn't happen, then I would have never had this happen, right? If this didn't happen, I would have never gotten to this place. And I think that that's so special because the path that God has laid out for you has bumps in the road, it has detours, right? But at the end of the day, when you keep your mind and your eyes focused on Him through this process, you are able to kind of see that this is all just a journey on making you stronger, making those around you stronger, because you're preparing for years and years down the road, right? But one thing that people love to learn about and ask me when I'm speaking to them is what is the difference between college and professional life? And Jalen, can you touch on that a little bit? Maybe the discipline. One thing I've always heard from people is the amount of freedom. What touch a little bit on it? Was college harder than professional? Just give some people a look into that.
The professional life is 10 times harder. Is because in college everything is structured for you to do every single hour of the day. Like you got this, you got this, you got that. So there's pretty much no room for you to go out and do something you're not supposed to. In the professional life, like you said, you have the time, you have the freedom. Um, it's just you need self discipline. You need
Yeah.
self discipline, and at the same time, now it's a job. Like you get a little bit more money in your pocket than like the college stipends now. Like it's a little different. And so like now, how are you gonna be disciplined with like your body? How are you gonna be disciplined with like just your money? How are you going to be disciplined with like your lifestyle, like your family, like you. The hardest thing I can't, like, for me personally, like I can't say no to people. Like that's just like I'm a good giving person. I want other people to like enjoy like this time with me. Like I don't say no. But at the same time, I have friends who don't really ask for much, so that's best. Like I have friends who know like their place. Um,
That's good.
but for me, like when it comes to that, like the saying no part, I put like my dad said, yeah, like I'll handle everything. Like just you just play basketball, don't worry about it. So if someone asks you for something, someone needs something from you, just say here, call my dad, whatever. And so my parents have always put in a place to be successful, even to this day. Like they always are just helping me out. Um, it's the biggest discipline for me is like just like the health and food and diet standpoint. Like you gotta be on in college. Like your nutritionist is there. They give you that. They give you everything you need. Everything you need. Everything they want you to do to be successful. In college, like, it's just. I mean, in the NBA, like you just have a little bit more reason to do whatever you want. They give you options, but you don't have to do it. And so I just being disciplined. You have to be disciplined. It's just so hard and it's so tough because there's so many good food, so much good food out there. Much food, unreal. So, but for me, the past like 4 months, like I didn't want to I didn't want to get big. Like I was already felt like I was already big enough. So I've been plant based since April, and I've lost 12 pounds, and I feel honestly the best I've ever felt. And so I mean, I don't know if I can continue that, but just being disciplined and just making sure that everything you do is going to help you and not hurt you, especially at this stage in your life.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for Haley before she steps into her professional career pretty soon?
I have a lot of advice. I have a lot of advice, but for me, like kind of like Haley said, like I kind of do the same thing. Like when you're bored, like just go back to the gym. Like that's not gonna hurt you. Just go back to the gym. For me, like I go to practice, I come home, play video games, take a nap, go back to the gym at night, shoot for like even just for 30 minutes. Like I always go shoot. My confidence comes from my work ethic. Like it's like being prepared for a test. Like you don't go into a test saying, "Oh, I think like, I don't know if I'm gonna be ready." Like no, like you're not gonna be ready if you don't prepare yourself. Like
Yeah.
I always prepare myself every day to make sure that no matter what, if it was a pop quiz or whatever, like in basketball terms, like you're going to be ready. And so just honestly, like, working hard is easier said than done. But yeah, like put basketball before anybody, anything, and make sure that your family knows like what you need from them, like from like a support standpoint. Like don't be afraid to say, "Hey, mom," like or dad, like it just give me some time. Like I need to focus. Like my mom, when I call my mom, she knows. Like or my mom calls me and she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I give her that look. She's like, "All right, call me back." Like
I know that
sometimes I need sometimes I need some alone time just to sit down, and literally not do nothing, and just think. No TV on, and just think. And don't be afraid to take time out for yourself to do that. And so don't be afraid to say no as well. Just
That's
it's
true.
hard, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's good. And while we wrap up, we're on our few minutes here. Haley and Jalen, Haley, you can kick it off. What is some advice you would have for kids who are maybe coming into their high school or starting off their dream, um, that you wish you had known in your process?
Hey,
Jalen, go ahead.
let me go.
Yeah.
All right. One thing I think there's a lot. There is a lot, honestly, but don't don't look at like your peers and compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. That's the quickest way to get jealous. That's the quickest way to lose chemistry within your team. Is just the quickest way in the wrong direction. Uh, for me, like I was always the guy. Like even my best friend from high school, like he was my backcourt mate. He played in London last year. Um, we and there was obviously something was always said about me that was like Jalen this, Jalen that. I always had all the press or whatever. So like whenever I did something with like, my teammates or whatever, I always brought them in. Like I always brought them along with me. Like if I was doing something, I always invited some teammates, and we always went together. Like I never left like people like out by themselves. Because I felt like if your team at that age, like in high school, high school is the most toxic place in the world. A high school setting is toxic. And so for me, like I always brought my teammates along, always kind of never really talked about my individual success or individual like or my offers or anything like that. Like when it comes to you being with your teammates, be there and be present and just focus on them. Like they know
Yeah.
what they have. Like they know what you have. They know the opportunities you're getting. They know everything. So like the more along you can bring them, even the guys who may not even play at all in high school or may play on the next level, like if you bring them along and like the chemistry will be totally different. There are players on my team that are chemistry but who may not have been better in the tryouts or better than other players who tried out, but for chemistry reasons they were on that team because they brought the team together. And I feel like if you do that as a leader, as a guy who's trying to be somewhere, like leadership and chemistry will bring you a long way. And if you win, it brings everyone along. If you win, like everything will be amazing. Like the more you win, the more everyone gets noticed, the more you get noticed. And so just
Yeah.
being a leader and bringing a lot of people along with you.
Yeah. And Haley, we can't hear you. Hey, take those out. Yeah, but she's frozen. So we really want to thank you guys for joining us today. I hope that people have snatched some wonderful gems that you guys laid out for them today. Hopefully, we'll have you on in the future for some more fun topics. But thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So today was wonderful. Thank you again for joining us this wonderful Wednesday morning. We're so thankful for those who stopped by to discuss this with us. We'll see you on Friday to keep this going. Thank you to Amazon Fire, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Apple TV, and most importantly, our key platform out of Phoenix, Arizona, E360 TV. Again, this is faith family focused. We're going to use our faith as a vehicle to help heal and sustain others on their path to strengthen the family core. And once again, let go, let love, let go, let God, let go, let faith, let get, let love. We'll see everyone on Friday and have a great Wednesday.
Bye.